The woman I now call mom didn't give birth to me. The one who did abandoned me when I was 5 years old. Apparently, we were together until the day before I turned 5. But honestly, I don't really remember. Since I was abandoned, I don't know if I was raised with love. And now, I can't even verify it. I don't know if she's alive, and I'm not interested enough to find out. I'll never forget my 5th birthday. I asked my dad over and over, when is she coming home? No matter how many times I asked, he just groaned. My birthday cake, we ate together, just the 2 of us. Pictures of the 3 of us from my 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th birthday cakes were lined up on display. We talked about adding one each year. I was looking forward to it, but for some reason, my mother never came back.
Let's eat the cake with Dad, just the 2 of us.
I nodded and ate the cake. From then on, Mom never came back home. I don't know why. There must have been a reason that was hard to tell a child. Since then, my birthday has become a day I'm somehow uncomfortable with. We stopped displaying the family photos, but my dad always says,
"Happy birthday,"
and eats cake with me every year. Being abandoned on my own birthday, I secretly thought it was because I was a bad kid. But I never told my dad that. I was afraid that if I did, and if it was true, I'd be abandoned by him too. And I always felt anxious that even if I didn't say it, I might be abandoned someday. But my dad was always watching over me and standing by my side. The ritual of eating cake together on my birthday continued every year. No matter how busy he was, he always kept that promise. I said, "It's okay, but
my son's birthday is a happy occasion, so I want to celebrate it together."
That's what my dad said. Year by year, I felt less left behind on my birthday. That bitter feeling gradually faded away. Then 10 years passed, and my 15th birthday was approaching.
"There's someone who wants to celebrate your birthday with us this year,"
my dad suddenly said to me. I understood right away. Dad had a new girlfriend, and I was no longer a child who couldn't accept that. My father was always busy raising me on his own, but I was glad to know that he had found someone special. Even though I was right in the middle of the age when kids often rebel, I had nothing but gratitude and respect for my dad. The first time I met my father's girlfriend, Mary, she seemed kind and calming to talk to. I thought to myself, maybe they can be together forever. I hope so. Mary would cheerfully talk to me about various things. Having developed a discomfort around women due to my mother's departure, Mary's close and engaging manner was quite a shock at first. But before I knew it, I was caught up in her pace and slowly began to talk to her normally. Then, after they celebrated my 15th birthday together, a baby joined us for my 16th birthday. Though they probably wanted to spend it as a family of 3, Mary looked so happy celebrating my birthday, which should have been a bother. I was grateful. And for me, there was this slight feeling of superiority, as if I had accepted them into the life my father and I used to have. It wasn't that I was looking down on them, but I felt that without my approval, the life of my father, mother, and little sister couldn't have been realized. I had such pride. I know I wasn't in a position to be arrogant, but perhaps thinking this way helped me maintain my adolescent psyche. I feel that way. After that, I became an adult and continued to have a friendly relationship with them. I was able to go to college and get a job, and I started living on my own. Sometimes, I'd go back home to talk with my parents and play with my much younger sister. More like a daughter than a sister. I'd feel this strange emotion, but I don't dislike this relationship. My sister doesn't know that I'm not her real brother. About 3 years after I started working as an adult, I met someone I wanted to marry. I had met her long before, but that's when I felt like marrying her. Since my mother had left my father and me after marriage when I was a kid, I thought marriage was unpredictable and swore I'd never do it. But I was able to change because of Mary, my current mother. I can't thank her enough. Mary is my real mother, not just the one who gave birth to me. Thinking about that, as I picked up our marriage certificate and was casually looking at it, I inadvertently let out a sound. I found out a shocking truth. The thought that had just crossed my mind, blood ties don't matter, seemed to have flown away. Of course, I knew I had no blood relation to my mother and sister. but I always thought my father was my real father. I was sure he was my dad. But in the space for my father's name on my family register, there was a name of a man I didn't know. I wasn't even my father's son. I felt like something big had grabbed me all over. I can't quite describe the feeling. Where am I standing right now? I was overcome with emotions, unable to understand whether I exist in reality. I don't know if I'm angry or happy about this shocking fact, and even my emotions seemed to lose their meaning. I felt ashamed of myself, who had always thought of them as family. The reality that I was the only outsider in that home. The self-image of being a generous son who had accepted my current mother and sister was shattered. Those three were a real family. I was the only outsider. Maybe that's why I didn't have a rebellious phase. Perhaps my blood knew that my father was a stranger and that if I rebelled, I might be abandoned. Perhaps my instincts knew that rebelling against someone who wasn't my real parent was pointless. I can't even think about marriage anymore. When my girlfriend called, I just said, I'm going to my parents' house, and headed there that day. Of course, it was to talk about the family register. Dad, there's something I want to ask you. As soon as I arrived home, I said it before anyone spoke to me. My father looked surprised, but soon said,
Yeah, I guess you would know. I understand.
And laughed with my mother. What are you laughing at? I felt a little angry, but I held back the emotion. My father called for Mary and my sister, and we all gathered around the table to talk as a family. You guys have been deceiving me. I always believed that you were my father. The moment I said those words, tears began to flow, even though I didn't want to cry. Then my father slowly began to speak.
Well, the truth is, I'm not your real father, according to a DNA test.
I knew it. Even though I knew it, hearing it from my father's mouth hurt my chest again. So I was the only outsider.
But I'm your dad. Was I different to you?
No.
Is blood that important? Is our relationship over because of this?
No, that's not. My dad continued to speak without waiting for my reply.
I know it was wrong not to have told you, but whether you knew it or not, it doesn't change the fact that I'm your father. If you've always thought of me as your father, then family records and blood don't matter, right? I've always felt that I've been a much better father to you than your biological one. But was it different for you?
Various memories came flooding back. My father crying at my graduation. My dad running around, tired from teaching me how to ride a bike. My father taking a day off to come to parent-child day at my elementary school. Even after getting a new wife and child, his attitude towards me never changed. He has always cared for me deeply. That's still true today. Of course, it must be because he thought of me as his son, believing that blood ties didn't matter. Yet, what was so shocking about all of this? The moment I found out we weren't related, I felt strangely alone in the world. And even though I understood my father's feelings, it still felt like something was bothering me. I don't know whether to feel sorry or how to express what I'm feeling. I can't grasp my own emotions.
Why?
Mary spoke up.
What's bothering you so much?
Bothering me? Is something bothering me? No, that's not it. I love my father, and I even respected him during my rebellious years. The fact that we're not really parent and child, that might be what's bothering me. Mary was smiling.
There are parents and children with weak bonds even when they're related by blood. But you and your dad aren't like that, Sam. Even from close up, you look like a real father and son. I only know you from halfway through, but even then, I can see your history. Besides, if blood ties were that important, would you have not considered me and my daughter, your sister, as family?
Of course, I never meant that. Family doesn't have to be related by blood. That's obvious, isn't it? But somehow, I couldn't quite say that. That feeling of including my mother and sister into the connection between my father and me. Such a mysterious feeling was there. So perhaps I did feel that blood ties were important. But the unexpected fact that I alone was unrelated was not something I could easily accept. Yet, my father, Mary, and my sister are looking at me and smiling. That's why I thought maybe I should distance myself from these three family members. Yeah, let's do that. It's for the best if I'm not around. After all, I'm getting married, and this is a good opportunity. I can sever ties now. That's what I was thinking. And the moment I opened my mouth to say it, Mary said,
No, you can't. We'll still be family from now on.
I haven't said anything yet.
I know, Sam, because I'm your mother. I know everything. Even without blood ties, I'm still the mother who's watching over you.
What are you talking about? I'm the real father here.
What are you saying?
The two started to argue mysteriously, and my sister and I watched in silence. It gradually became more amusing, and then I couldn't help but let that emotion show. My sister shouted,
Big brother is laughing.
and then,
I did it, thanks to me.
No, it's because I'm the real father.
and the two began to argue again. What a fun family we are. I really love my family. In the end, I have no blood-related family. The person I'm about to marry is, of course, a stranger without blood ties. But I thought we could become a family without anything changing. I left my family home with a cheerful heart. Dad, Mary, no, Mom, thank you. I can move on to a new life. I want them always to be the place I can return to. I told my fiancée everything, and she accepted it all.
It's great that you have such a wonderful family. Let me be part of it too, she said.
In the gentle, good atmosphere.
By the way, whatever happened to Sam's real father? Who and where is he?
I hadn't been concerned about it at all, and I couldn't stop laughing. My family, to me, consists of my father, mother, sister, and soon, my wife. I have absolutely no interest in my supposed blood-related father and mother. I realized that blood ties are just that, nothing more. But I decided to ask about it before getting married.
So you want to know about your real father, huh? Finally curious, are you? You never asked, so it's a bit surprising.
Dad said, laughing, but when he began to talk, his eyes looked a little sad, a little lonely.
Your father was my best friend. Not was, I still think of him as my best friend.
What's he doing now?
He died just after you were born. He really loved you, and every time we met, he'd go on about Sam. I grew attached to you too. And then he got in a motorcycle accident, just like that. When I got there while he was still conscious, he was worried about you and calling your name, even in pain. It hurt to see. I told him to leave you to me, and then he looked so relieved. Though it was his wish, taking you in caused a big fuss since I was a stranger. But his wife fought with me, wanting to respect his wishes, and we got the family's permission to live together as three, not as a married couple, but just sharing a home. We weren't husband and wife. At first, that was enough, but I guess it was hard for her, losing her husband and raising a child with a stranger like me. Maybe she found a new boyfriend. She left a note saying please take care of Sam and left after 5 years. But I didn't feel like chasing her and forcing her to be a mother. I thought it'd be enough if I could raise you properly. That's your unknown past, I guess.
I couldn't say anything. I was silent, and then my girlfriend, who had been listening, suddenly said brightly,
Sam has 2 dads and 2 moms. That's amazing.
she just gave birth and then abandoned you and ran away somewhere, right?
Sam just gave birth. Don't you know how hard childbirth is, even after watching Mary? She must have gone through a lot of pain and carried you in her belly for a long time. The fact that you're alive here now means you were loved a lot by your mother. I don't think there's such a thing as a mother who just gave birth anywhere.
And Mary said, too,
That's true. Leaving a child behind like that is something I can't believe or praise as a mother. But even though I've acted like Sam's mother more than anyone else since Midway, I still didn't grow you inside my belly, giving my life to deliver you. In that regard, I simply can't compare. At that time, you were undoubtedly loved unconditionally by your mother. Of course, by your real father, too. And now, of course, by your father and me. Wait, don't forget the love for me, your new wife.
what are you talking about? I retorted to her, laughing, but my vision was blurred by tears. I felt somehow softly warmed. There were times when I felt down just knowing that my father and I weren't related by blood, but I was surrounded by so much love. Sometimes my eyes would focus only on the unpleasant things of the past, but if I really looked around, there was so much affection directed at me both in the past and now. I'm sure that no one is living now without knowing love. Even if things are tough right now, you are definitely loved by someone, somewhere. I believe that. And now it's my turn to give that love back to everyone.